Our In the Turn interview this week sponsored by GM Best Cleaning Services, cleaning homes and businesses on the South Shore. We're joined on the phone by a gentleman who I do believe is going to be running the Ultimate Streetcars, competing live at SEMA 2023 all week. The OPTIMA Ultimate, that's a tongue twister, OPTIMA Ultimate Streetcar Invitational. We're joined by Francis Marchand. Do you go by Francis or Frank?
Fran.
Fran, welcome to the show, Fran. How are you tonight?
Good, thank you very much.
So this one's pretty cool. This is going to be a good little couple-minute interview, give you the ability to plug what you're doing, what you're racing. For those listeners who follow the series, first off, tell us a little bit about it.
OPTIMA Ultimate Streetcar Invitational or Challenge is a group of cars that race all over the country. This year, where there's 7 different racetracks that ran all over the country for an invitation to SEMA, to actually race at SEMA. It's an invite only. You have to either win your class or be up there in points to win it. And everything has to be street legal, street driven. They have driving like a road course they do. Then we do actually road race, a autocross race, a start, speed, stop challenge, and we do also a design and engineering where you talk to 3 judges and they judge you about your vehicle, how you built it, how you came about with it.
So I'm going to back up now that we got a little information on the series. The first question I always like to ask, and it's not going to be the first one tonight, but how'd you catch the racing bug?
I catched it young when I was building go-karts, and me and a friend of mine, Jim, we took old tractors. My dad would not buy me a go-kart when I was younger, so I took tractors and modified tractors and made them really go fast, and I was actually 60 miles an hour racing down the road, and my father caught me, and he wouldn't get me gas or buy me any gas for a while because I was racing cars down the street.
Fran, what do you drive in these events? What's your car?
I drive it. Actually, it's a truck. It's a 1950 Chevrolet pickup.
Whoa.
Cool. Oh, that's cool.
It is original body on it, original frame, except for it's got a Corvette suspension front and rear with a 500 and almost 600 horsepower LS3 with a 6-speed stick. It's a four-wheel independent suspension, all coilovers. It's got 345s on the rear and 305s in the front for tires with big 14-inch brake rotors and 6-piston calipers.
Excellent. So, curious, where you mentioned that they run at 6 or 7 tracks each year. Where do they run? What's the schedule, let's say for this year, leading up to SEMA?
I just came back for Virginia International Raceway. Before that, I was actually, we raced at Daytona. We did the Rolex 24 road course for a road race. So my truck was been out on the Rolex 24 road course and on the high banks of the Daytona 500.
Cool.
Front straightaway through the all the turns and into the tri-oval.
Fran, how would somebody get involved in that if they wanted to build their own fast car and come down and race with you guys?
All you have to do is there's a set of rules. You got to go drive USA or drive OPTIMA, and they have a bunch of rules that you have to abide by, and they're very strict, but they're very good about them too. And you can bring your street vehicle, and that's what it's made. It's not made for full-on race cars. Although there is a lot of high-dollar, very nicely built vehicles out there, there's also some people that drive on Mazda Miatas and like a Chevy Colorado pickup, and it's designed for good, amateur drivers, not just professional drivers.
Now, for folks who might be listening, and I always like to try to educate the listeners, and we've had a great show doing that tonight so far, tell the listeners what SEMA is.
SEMA is the largest automotive aftermarket trade show in the world. SEMA, everything new that comes out for anything aftermarket for the vehicles, GM, Ford, Chrysler, Nissan, Toyota, everybody goes there and shows off all their new products that's coming out for the next year or just starting. I have a Willowwood master cylinder setup that was showed up at SEMA first last year. I using that master cylinder setup in my truck. And it's a big show too. It's pretty wild.
Do they kind of class the cars out? Because I'd assume there's some cars with more horsepower, maybe this or that's a little different. Do they try to do it in that type of way to keep it fair, or is it really a free-for-all?
No, it's they do have. I think there's like 10 classes. I had to look it up. There's a truck class, which I am in. There's also the GTVs, GTTs. They have an outlaw class that run basically what you brung, but it still has to be street legal. It has to be registered, insured, and in your name. I can't show up with my truck and a professional driver drive my truck. They check the registration for it. In between the races, we actually go on a drivability cruise, and to make sure, and you get points for that. If you don't do the drivability cruise, you lose a 100 points, and that's a lot of points to lose.
So, talking about points, obviously you accumulate points throughout the year. Run for a championship of any sort, or how does that work out in this class?
Yes, they do. They take the best 2 runs of the year for you, and because they have one of the tracks was Laguna Seca,
great course.
Louisiana. There's one other one in California. There's Road America, Virginia. So they're all over the country. So for me to go out there, and they're run about once a month, all summer long, and starting in the springtime to the fall. And so they take your best 2 and they add your points up there.
Excellent. Any names or any family, friends you want to thank for helping you, get through the season, pay the bills, anything like that?
Yeah, Jim Henneborn and his father have been a huge help. I could not have done this without them. I'm good at what I do, but they are better in the suspension area. Jim Henneborn Sr. is just beyond his years of knowledge of racing, and Ed Ferris helped me paint it. Nate Tatro helped me out with Green Mountain Racing. There's John Sharon helped me. It's hard to think of everybody all in one shot.
Well,
my mother helped me out. My girlfriend's helped me out. It's a love affair about it, and it's like in the racing community. We go there, and I helped one guy who had his truck broken, and he was competition for me at Daytona, and I offered to help him any way he needed it, because I want to help him. If he goes faster, I have to go faster. I won 2 out of the 3 events and Daytona, and turned in second for in my truck class.
Excellent. Joining us this week in our In the Turn interview is Fran Marchand, running in the OPTIMA Ultimate Streetcar Invitational coming up. Fran, we appreciate the time, and thank you so much for joining us tonight.
I appreciate the interview. I really do. And thank you very much.
Not a problem.
Good luck.
We'll get it over to you. Good luck this weekend, and have a good time.